Well, I suppose I should have seen this coming. I mean, I guess it's something that I should have expected. You know, when I started the Game of the Week series, the idea was pick a game that I'm interested in, provide coverage for you guys throughout the course of the week, and then end it with my final thoughts. The problem is, and what I should have expected, is that some games launch terribly, and Van Helsing appears to be one of those games. So there have been some significant issues, some even game-breaking issues that I really think you guys should be aware of. So I wanted to issue you a warning about some of the launch week woes that Van Helsing is currently seeing. Let's begin with the ones that I encountered myself. There was some extreme choppiness and frame drops in combat once I got to the third area of this game. It's basically the third zone. It's like the swamp level, and then whenever I would engage in combat, there would be this choppiness and these frame drops that honestly made the game unbearable. It was unplayable at that point. So I did a little bit of research, and before you say, Force, get a better computer, I've got a GTX 680, I've got 14 gigabytes of RAM, I've got an i7 processor. My computer can run games like Crysis 3, Far Cry 3, and Metro Last Light on ultra settings at a steady frame rate. So it's not my computer. I was playing this game on the lowest setting and still had frame dropping and choppiness in combat that made the game almost nauseating to play. It was terrible. Every single time I engaged in combat, the frames dropped all the way down. It was consistently choppy. I could hardly tell what was going on. It was horrendous. Now, I did some research and I found out that running the game through an x64 application under the Program Files, Steam, Steam Apps Common, and Game folder here on my computer, it runs just fine. In fact, that's what I'm currently in right now, so I'm going to hop into some combat and just show you that the combat is smooth and perfectly fine. But when I ran the game through Steam directly, or through the game's icon on my desktop, combat was unbearable. Literally every time I engaged in combat like I'm doing here, if there was more than one or two guys, the frames would drop so far down, it was just absolutely horrendous. So it looks like, as you can see here, I've resolved that issue. Everything's running smoothly, engaging in combat isn't a problem, and I'm not dealing with any game-breaking issues right now. However, that issue is not the only issue that the game appears to be having. I took a look on the game's official forums, and then I also looked on the Steam forums, and there are some other major problems that people are experiencing with the game. Number one, some people can't even start the game. I've seen reports of people being able to play. Someone said they played yesterday for a couple of hours, and then today they tried to launch the game and it literally would not boot up. So obviously that's a problem. Some people are experiencing consistent crashing, which makes the game unplayable. In fact, specifically Total Biscuit of YouTube fame, I saw him having a conversation on Twitter, in which he said that the game was consistently crashing and he was unable to play it for that reason. People's characters are being deleted after some crashes. People who have put, you know, a good 5-10 hours into the game having their characters completely deleted. In fact, the co-op doesn't work, which is also resulting in deleted characters. So some of the co-op problems include players not being able to see each other. Every time someone tries to start a co-op game, one of the two players gets kicked, so it's kind of, you know, you basically can't do anything. And then some people are literally, when they're in a co-op game, their screen goes completely black and they cannot see a darn thing. Obviously that is also a problem. So the co-op's not working, and there have been game-breaking bugs where people going throughout a quest will have NPCs bug out, which makes it so that they can't progress through the quest and is making it so that they can't continue throughout the rest of the game. So there are some significant issues with this game right now, and beyond the game-breaking bugs, now I resolved my issue, and so far I'm going to be able to continue to play the game. I'm not having any frame-dropping problems anymore in combat. But as you can see, the list that I just mentioned, there are some other major problems that still need to be ironed out. Now beyond that, this game has innate issues with it. For example, there's no mob respawns, and once you reach the end game, that's it. It's sort of like a normal video game where once you complete it, there's nothing else to do. You can play it again. But I think the issue with that is that games like this, hack and slash action RPGs, they typically have replayability because there's monster respawns and like a new game plus, basically. This game doesn't have that. So there are some problems here, and I don't want to pretend that this is a perfect game besides the bugs, but we're going to leave those thoughts for my final impressions video. I just wanted to issue a warning, letting everyone know that there are still some significant issues with this game. It's something that the developer is still going to have to patch and hopefully fix in the near future so that people don't have the problem. I would love to be able to run this game through Steam instead of having to run it through an executable in a folder that I have to dig up every single time I want to play the game again. Now obviously I can make a shortcut on my desktop, but that's not the point. I shouldn't have to run this game through the x64 application. I should just be able to run it normally like I do every other single game that I play on Steam. But that is going to do it, guys. Those are some of the problems that Van Helsing is seeing this week. I still like parts of this game, and I still think overall it's a pretty decent game. It certainly has its problems, like I mentioned, such as the lack of mob respawns and nothing to do once you complete the game. But beyond that, you know, there you go. That's that. Launch week woes here for Van Helsing. I should have expected it. When I started this series, I should have realized, man, I'm playing games on launch week. Some of them are going to have problems. This is one of those games. We're going to continue our Game of the Week coverage, though, now that I can play it without all that choppiness that I had for the last 2 hours of playing. I've got that issue resolved, so I'll continue playing. Hopefully I don't encounter any more game-breaking bugs, and I can finish the game and give you my final thoughts. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Happy to keep you informed as to what's going on here. If you like the content, please subscribe. And as always, keep watching and keep owning.